Howdy folks, my name is Janaki, and this is Madame Bathsheba, and together we are Catomancy Tarot. So hello, welcome. Today I'm really excited to do a really big mod. It's my biggest mod in quite some time, and I'm super stoked about it. The Oracle deck, it's an Oracle deck we're going to be modifying today, is the Creativity Oracle by Amy Zerner and Monte Farber. I'm a huge fan of Amy Zerner's. I have the Enchanted Tarot. I have a few different editions of it, and she has a couple different Oracle decks. I think this one might be my fave, except for one thing, and that's the backs they're hideous. I hate them. I don't like them. But so what we're going to be doing today is, first of all, we're going to be rebacking the whole deck, and then we're also going to be writing on the fronts and giving them new titles. So that's what we're up to today. And we're also gonna do, I'm gonna take you through how I reback, my whole process, what the renaming was like. You'll get to see the finished product. And we're also going to be doing some, doing some deck pairings, because this goes with everybody, and I'm super stoked. So let's get started. All right, so first let's take a look at how the deck comes. So it comes in another one of these very large, too large to fit comfortably on camera, boxes. I hate these boxes. It's a lovely box, magnetic, huge book, and then the deck comes in here. So I'm gonna rip this out and then repurpose this box for maybe some inks, keep some inks in here. And then, it means I have to make a bag. Oh no, I have to make a bag. That's all right. I can do that. So I'll also be kind of picking out fabric and matching it to make a bag. Ooh, that's fun. So this is what the deck looks like. It's one of the things I do really like about it is that it's an 80 card deck. So it's huge. It's a really big deck. I love it. I hate all of these these little like 30 card oracle decks. Get out of here. I don't want it. I want a bunch of really a bunch of cards. I think it's so beautiful. The fronts are, and I think the images are quite evocative. Like they give me a lot of, I guess, what you call intuitive hits. They're very expressive, and a lot of oracle decks, there's two components to an oracle deck, right? You have the image, and then you have the keywords, right? And some oracle decks rely really heavily, like the word does the heavy lifting. And then there's some oracle decks that, like, the image itself, you wouldn't like know what it's about just from looking at it. Like, you really have to rely on the words. And then for some, and this is an example of it, I would say the images for me do way more than the keywords do. And I am a writer. I'm working on writing my dissertation right now. Hard task. And I'm also just not a fan of, like, affirmations, really. They really don't do it for me. Like habits, examine habits that may impede the pathways to your goals and encourage beneficial ones. Like, this is such empty, nothing advice. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't really do anything for me, and this image does, like, so much more for me. So I decided, I don't need the backs. And, procrastination, this image to me, doesn't really have anything to do with procrastination. So that's why I decided to do the mod that I'm doing, which means I'm going to be writing on it, and I'm going to be rebacking it. And then I'll still write the little number of the card. So if I ever wanted to, I can dip into that huge guidebook. And all of the like super extra positive advice will still be there for me. You know, I can still have my cheesy affirmations. I love this card. I'm calling this one the big cat in the sky. Because that's what it is. And I love the big cat in the sky. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I'll flip through the whole thing towards the end of the video so you can see it with all of my titles. Yeah, I think the big cat in the sky is a better title than innovation. Maybe that's just me though. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this is all going to look like. And I have here a reveal, the cutting mat beneath. Now we're crafting. That's some smooth camera work right there. So there are a few cards in this deck, it's an 80 card deck, that just don't work for me at all and that I'm removing completely from the deck. And this is every Oracle deck Amy Zerner makes. There seems to, she loves doing some of this. She loves throwing some of this in there. You know, on one hand, you can look at it as indigenous representation. On the other hand, it feels super appropriative to me, and this deck came out in like 2020. Like, what are we doing in 2020? Like, someone needs to sit Amy Zerner down, have a very, you know, very patient, very loving. She has the best intentions, I'm sure. But like, we don't need to be doing all this no more. But that means I have 3 cards to kind of practice on. And the first, this is, okay, so here we go. This is the contact paper I've chosen. I hemmed and hawed for a long time about what contact paper would work the best, and what would like still make this deck feel like super cozy. You have these like really colorful front cards with like some lovely gilding, and I was kind of thinking that some of the backs, like black, might actually I don't know, elevate it a little bit. And then it has this kind of like quilted, almost like fabric-like texture. I mean, it feels like plastic because it's plastic. And then it comes all black. And so I've played around a little bit with just adding a touch of gold to the flowers, and I think it's really pretty. I will refine my technique. This was done like super messily. I think I'll be more precise when applying it. And I just kind of did that with a dewdrop and a Q-tip. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm really, there's 2 things I'm really nervous about in undertaking this rebacking. The first is that she's already a hefty deck. We love a hefty deck. That's one of the reasons I really like this deck. But it's going to, like, by my calculations, if you multiply, it said the thickness of this, it's like 0.2 millimeters, and then you multiply that by 77, it means the deck is going to grow at least like 1.5 centimeters. So about that much more. So I hope it'll still be shuffleable, but one thing that's nice is this deck is it's actually a little petite. It's a little bit, let's see here. For comparison, first of all, let's do the Ritual Tarot. It's a little bit, you can see it's just that much shorter, which means I'll be able to wrap my little old hands around it a little bit more if it really bulks up. And it's the same It's the same size as a standard tarot deck. It's just a little bit wider. So I love that as in terms of sizing. So I'm nervous about it bulking up too much, and then I'm nervous that the edges are going to look from like, you know, this is the kind of edging that it sooner, like out of the box it's really pretty, but like after some hard use, these are like the hard metallic gilding that looks like trash anyways after heavy use. So I'm kind of resigned to it just like not quite looking nice. So these are my 2 practice cards, and let's see if we can get it to, there's just going to be a little bit of a I don't know, we're working on it, we're gonna work on it. And then the other tool I'm using is just a Pilot gold fine tip pen. It's a paint marker, and I tested it out. I was like, what should I name this card if I was going to have it in the deck? And I called it Fishing for Fishes. And so my plan is to kind of just like find these different kind of patches and write on some of the all of the cards. And I've already gone through, I've sat with it, I've had the deck and I've kind of sat with it, and I've come up with my titles. And so I'm going to go ahead and I think the first step I'm going to do is, it's going to be a little bit of a process, and I won't film every part of this because that'll be too long. I'm probably going to, I don't have a ton of time right now, and so I'm gonna start writing on the cards in really small batches, and that way it takes about like an hour for the words to kind of fully dry. And I know they'll probably, I mean, they seem to be on there pretty good. I'm sure with time they'll fade a little bit, but that's what I've got. So yeah, super excited. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and start renaming some, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit after I've gone ahead and written on the cards. Alright, so I've got a little bit of a progress update for you guys. I went ahead and I went through and I wrote on all the cards, and it turned out really nice. It's subtle, but when you like shine the light, it picks up really nice. So I like that. Like some of them you can't really see until you like tilt the light just right. And I've used this deck a lot, so and Dawn Michelle talked about how she can never figure out how to make the writing stay on cards. So that might just be like a perpetual quandary. But like through the process of naming all the cards, like I now know what I want to call them, so at least I know what they're all called. Like I'm not going to forget what I've named a card. Here we've got Ritual Adornment. I'll do a full walkthrough later, but that's kind of how it turned out. And then I've been having thoughts and feelings about the backs. So originally I thought I would be using this contact paper, and like on camera it looks really nice. So visually it's pretty, but like a little ASMR. Can you hear that? It's just like hard plastic that just feels, it doesn't feel nice. Like it feels really plasticky, and it's really thick, and like just the feeling of it, like I hate it. I don't like it at all, which makes me feel bad for like, I don't know. Now I have this roll of contact paper that I have no idea what to do with. So if you want it, I'll give it to you. You just have to pay for shipping. But like I don't know. Maybe I'll find another little project for it, or back a deck that I don't like as much. So instead, I went on a mission to find contact paper that didn't feel tactily awful. So I went on and I read tons and tons of reviews of contact paper until I found the thinnest matte black contact paper I could find, and I got it even though it had like hundreds of really terrible reviews complaining about how thin it was, and I was like, oh, perfect, that's exactly what I want. And so it's very thin. It like this one will have like little air bubbles, so you have to be like really gentle when you put it on. So they end up looking like this, and it feels so much better. Like it feels like it could be a card, and the cards end up being like quite thin, which is perfect because one of the things is I didn't want to bulk it up too bad. It does show like hand marks a lot, but you know, it's summer. My hands are a little, just came from yoga, so they're a little moist. So it's picking up all of that. But I didn't want to just leave it with just blank black. And I was like, okay, I need to find a pretty stamp. And I was like, maybe a rose stamp. But then all of the, then it's like, well, I don't really want to buy a $15 pretty stamp, even if it's pretty, you know, it's like, I don't want to do all that. So I was like, what can I do? And I found these like, I got these like doilies for really cheap. You know, these little antique, I mean, they're cute, little lace doilies. And I was like, what if I turn this into a stamp? I've never done this before, but I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So the first thing I did is I cut the sides of it, like it fits, it's like the perfect size. I just had to cut the sides so when I stamp it, it doesn't, like the extra things isn't getting extra ink everywhere. So that it ended up looking like this. So I've only done this once, and I've got, so I ink it up with my Delicata gold ink pad, and then I've actually got from my other days out in the world, I've got a it's not, let's see, zoom out. I've got a little press from printmaking. So what I went ahead and did is I loaded in one of these cards. So you load in a card. It's not inked up right now, but just so you get the idea. You load in the card, you line up your little imprint, and then you get your little cardboard sandwich, and then you press it. So this way, you know, you don't have to actually mount the stamp, and then you give it a little press, and this one wasn't currently inked up, so I don't think it's going to make an impression, unless, of course, oh, it made a little impression. I'll have to redo that. I should have just done that for real, but I didn't. Oh, well. It ends up, I'm still working out the kinks, but this is the practice one I did, and I need to ink it up a little bit more so you can pick up the detail of the flowers, the embroidery flowers, but I actually think it's gorgeous. But I think I just smudged it. I think, yeah, I don't know if the ink's gonna ever dry. So that's, you know, I'm playing around with it. We'll see if, how long it actually does. This is my sample card, so I'm not too torn up about that. So, I'm just letting it out to see how long or if this will ever dry. But it's pretty. I hope it works. You know, how long does ink really take to dry? Overnight? So I might have to do like little small batches of it, which is okay. I might just wipe this one clean so I can start over. Anyways, this is the joys of arts and crafts. So I still have to do back most of the deck. So order of operations are, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I have here one of my with this you have to kind of like brush out the bubbles a little bit. So I've stuck one of these down, and then we'll zoom us back in here so we can see what's going on. So you know, take the back off, and then you stick it here, and we're slowly, you know, easing out all the bubbles. And then in the past, I've tried different methods. Like I've tried cutting the sticky bits with scissors. I've tried doing it with, and then with like corner rounders. But this card is like thick enough that I'm just gonna use the card as a guide and my tiny little X-Acto knife here. And because the goal is to not cut the gilding off, because I actually kind of like it, so I'm just lining this blade right up against the card, and I'm beveling it a little bit so it's kind of angled at a 45 degree. So I'm trying to get like right underneath the card here, and the bevel is helping me not cut into the card, which is the goal. It's a little bit harder with this camera in the way, so I probably won't do more than one on camera. So here we go. And I'm curious if anyone has ever rebacked a deck with gilding before, and you know, did you want to keep the gilding? How did it turn out? Is there any techniques that you use to kind of ensure that it still looked nice after? And now it's hard because this card is black and the other thing is black, so I can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm hoping. And well, that one was a little bit off because I couldn't really see what I was cutting. So you can just touch that up a little bit here. Yeah, I think it'll be easier once I've got this camera out of the way and I can get up in this business a little bit closer. Sorry, I'm probably talking like right on top of my microphone. Oh wow. And then I don't want to use the corner rounder because I tried it on a practice one and it took the gilding off the corners. So I'm just going to kind of go in there and kind of, you know, do what I can. Oh, it's meticulous. It's meticulous work. Oh boy. Okay. So this is what I'm doing to chill in the evenings for a few nights this week. So, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna go do the rest of the deck and probably wait overnight to see if my experiment dries. And then I'll get back to you with more results. All right, it's been a week and I have some things to show you guys. So now I'm wondering if any of you, as you were watching me, my trial and error process with the stamping, I wonder if any of you picked up or were shouting at me through the camera that it was a huge mistake. Because you would be right, because technically this ink in particular is a pigment ink. And pigment inks need a porous surface in order to ever be able to dry. And this surface is not porous. it is, it's not gloss, but it's glossy. It doesn't give the ink anything to adhere to, and it's been a week, and watch this. It's still not fully dry, like it still smudges. Which is wild, And I got out my big hair dryer and tried that way, it wouldn't dry. And then it turns out if you want pigment ink to dry on glossy paper, you have to hit it with an embossing heat gun and use some like powders. And that's a technique that I actually don't know how to do, and I don't have the right tools. So I improvised, and I decided to. I was attached to using the little doilies, and instead I decided to use spray paint. So what I did is I took the doily, I put it against a cardboard, I hit it with some spray paint, and then I loaded it into my press. And that's how I did it. And I stamped the backs of the deck, and I finally finished. And here it is. It turned out to be chunky. But these are the backs, and this is what it looks like. And I'll show you a little clip of me doing all this in my backyard. So this was my little outdoor setup. I just finished printing the last ones, and now they're all just kind of set out to dry. I think they came out pretty okay. There is like some variation between them, and you can tell when like I used like a fresh one versus like some of the times they get a little bit muddy after you use them a few times. But you have to work kind of quick because the one thing about it is the spray paint dries like super fast, which is actually really nice. These are all my used doilies. I used the whole set that it came with. But there they are. That's everyone. So that's what it looked like. That was the process, and you can see, I think it's actually come out. I kind of like it. I think it's kind of pretty. Some of them are a little bit more successful than others. Like some, they're not all the same. Some of them, you can really pick up like the thread detail. Some of them are a bit murky, but overall, I think they're kind of pretty. What do you guys think? And then so some of the spray paint actually, it dried super quick, which was great. And then I just hit it briefly with this little guy. Oh, 1 moment. I have a little sander. This is 1000 strength sand, so it's pretty gentle. And I just kind of, because sometimes the spray paint had a little bit of texture, and so I just sanded it down a little bit and then wiped it all off, and these are the backs, and that's how they came out. What do you guys think? Do you guys like it? It was very labor intensive. I've never done a process like a mod that was this labor intensive, but I think it turned out really pretty. It is a big deck, and I messed up the edges a little bit because they got a little bit sticky, so I was trying to like wash them off. And one of the things you can do to get sticky off is to use acetone in like nail polish remover. And this was another thing where like I tried a thing and I learned something. I learned that if you use nail polish remover on this metallic gilding, it comes right off. So this is news. Instead of like trimming a deck that has like gilding that you don't like, try hitting it with like a little bit of nail polish remover. That's what I found. So I accidentally took some of it off. when I didn't want to. You can see here there's some cards that are lighter than others. Whoopsie daisies. And I still haven't been able to like wash all the sticky off, but I'm hoping that just comes off with time. And I really like it. And so I can, it's, one of my fears was it would get too chunky to shuffle. But let's take a look here. I think we can do it. It is, look at that. I can still do it. I can still do it. Isn't that great? That was my hope, that I would still be able to riffle shuffle it. And because the deck is just a little bit shorter, like I showed you, I can still riffle shuffle, which is great. So that's that. And I still have to, it is a little bit chunkier, and my regular size pouch, for those of you who don't know, I make all of my own silk tarot pouches. This is the large size, and it's just like a tiny bit too fat to fit into the large size. So I'm gonna have to make a custom size for this. And this is the fabric I've picked out for it. It's this nice purple silk with a little border. I think that'll be super cute. And we'll actually, we'll go ahead and use this fabric for our little backdrop right now. Because now I'm going to go ahead and walk you through all of the cards in the deck. This is a magic order, no particular order. All right, so this first card here, I actually wrote, this is the longest title, and it's a quote from my favorite novel, which is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This one is, "The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite," which I think is really lovely, and has to do with just kind of appreciating the wonder in the world and the ways in which the world takes care of you. But if you're interested in magic, and you probably are, it's a wonderful, it's all written through field notes, and I love it dearly. So that's that. Then we have Ready and Rearing. Silver words on silver wings. There's a lot of kind of like bird imagery in the deck, so this is, birds as messengers. Down from Olympus. So I imagine, she's just come down from her palace up here, and sometimes you just need to get down and into the world a little bit. Don't change your stripes. Aspire higher. See, she's got her wings and this big old palace, and she wants to, aspire higher. Then we've got Stuck in a Rut. Let It Go. And this is one of the few titles that I pretty much kept the same from the deck. We've got Post Pupa. There's a lot of butterfly imagery in here as well, and so to distinguish the butterfly cards, I figured this one would be about, post pupa, like you just got out of, you were goo for a long time in your chrysalis, and now you're out in the world, and that's a big change. The next up here, I really love this one. I called this one Clap If You Believe in Fairies, and it's, it's all about innocence and the fairies, right? We've got Abstract Thought, Spirit of Competition, Raise a Glass, and there's also a ton of like cat friends in this deck, which I also love, obviously. We've got Dark Horse, Tend the Flames. This one I called Enrich Your Environment. Angelic entourage. Moon things, you know, just some moon things, like, you know, tides and emotions and menstruation, you know, moon things. Then we've got co-conspirators, interspecies dialogue. This is take to the floor. This one's almost entirely wiped off. Again, if you know how to stop it from doing that, please do let me know. But this one is habitus, which is like an anthro term. Then here we've got take counsel. Schoolyard games. Enter the temple. This one I called Take to the Plume, imagining that this peacock feather is like a big old quill, and sometimes you just need to write some things down. This one is Follow the Birds. This one is Blessed, Bountiful, and Blooming. Our little Empress moment here. This one is Rescue a Stray. Ritual Adornment. This one is Charisma, Uniqueness, Nerve, and Talents. This is a little nod to RuPaul's Drag Race, and I just thought that this cat looked like she was in drag, you know, and you know, a lesson to learn there is, I don't know. Trixie Mattel sometimes talks about like having just delusional self-confidence. And I love that. So I'm trying, that's what I'm trying to do with this card is, yeah. Spread your wings. Check the forecast. On the horns. Side quests. Pollination. Creeping dread. This one I wasn't sure about, but I went with time traveler because this person seems like trapped in a weird little bubble, I guess. I wasn't sure about it. This one is cast off. Midnight Ride. Rules of comportment. This one is Who Pays the Piper Calls the Tune. This is Oracular Vision. This one here we've got Ad Aspera per Astra, which is a little Latin phrase that means through hardship to the stars. Here we have, this was the image on the cover, and I called this one Create in Your Own Image, because if you look here, she's staring at like a little version of herself. So I thought that was interesting. I love this card. This card I called Swan Vibes Only. And I really love it. Assume the stance, cast the spell. This one is Head Honcho. This one is Just Sit With It. This one is Secret Garden. This one is In Step. And I think about this is like Amy Zerner and Monte Farber in their enchanted world. Here we have Flee the Scene. This one I called The End Is Nigh. Because this looks, those skies look, whew, something's coming, you know. This is Curious Companions. I called this one the Mournful Orb, because she's so, I don't know, she's so caught up in her, just looking in her little sphere there. This is Offering. Dalliance. Little dalliance in a field here. This was another one of the butterfly cards, and I called this one Look to the East. You know, when the sun rises on the 5th day, at dawn look to the east. You know, little nerd reference there. There's a few nerd references in here. But just to say, you know, tomorrow's another day. You know, dawn is good. Here we have Analyze the Pattern. Ask for a Vision. Interior Landscape. Island of Thought. Here we have the big cat in the sky. You know, sometimes you just need to trust that the big cat in the sky is just looking out for you. You know, big cat in the sky is always there, always, you know, always looking out for you. I love the big cat in the sky. This one's Behind the Curtain. Cupid's Coming. In Rotation. Shed the Veil. The Original Ancestor. Just thinking about, you know, the original spark of life into the oceans, and then you got your little critters crawling, so, you know, thinking all the way back in the lineage. Palace of Perfection. This one I just called Take Heart. It feels like a little strength cardy, you know. The Peacock I just called Attraction. This one is Orbital Mechanics. Just thinking about, you know, our celestial bodies and how they're pulled toward us and all that good stuff. I called this one Journey to the Underworld. This one is Sub Rosa. This one I called Niche Down. I feel like we had a few little ecological niches here. Sometimes it's good to just like do one thing really well. And then here we have Ruler of Your Domain with our little Poseidon figure here. And then the last one here I've called Totally Drained. So I've taken inspiration in kind of like the playfulness and some of the weird titles from one of my like all-time favorite oracle decks, which is the Tantric Dakini Oracle. And I really love how it's all turned out. Hopefully you like it. I think it's a great deck. It is like a huge labor of love though. Like this was like, oh boy, howdy. It was a lot of work. But let's go ahead, and the last thing I'll do before I let you guys leave is I'm gonna do some deck pairings. And I think the first thing we need to take a look at is with its Dear Sister deck, which I have in this little pouch here. And that's the Zerner Farber Tarot. This is the new edition of it. It comes in a bunch of different editions. Sometimes it's called the Enchanted Tarot. Sometimes it's called the Zerner Farber. This is the Zerner Farber. And as you can see, it is, it's pretty perfect. Like, it's so good. I just, yeah, I love it a lot. It's like, yeah, perfect combo. So beautiful. I think the size really complements everything well. Sorry, my lighting, it's evening, so we're losing some light. So hopefully you can still see all this okay. But I think this is going to go really well with a lot of things, which is nice. So this is classic. This is so classic, you know. Really, really lovely. A natural pairing. And then let's see if we can bump our lighting up a little bit. Is that better? Maybe that's a little bit better. We'll see. The next one I wanted to show you guys is the Adapt Tarot, which is another collage deck, and I think it has these like colorful borders. And well, maybe now the lighting's a little too intense. Is that all right? Is that all right, friends? I hope it's all right. And I think it goes perfectly. I think it's yeah, I like this one a lot too. And I think this is going to be I'm going to take some decks to work and use them as like to help in writing. I have a video where I talk about how to use decks for like help with writing, if you're interested in that. But like I love this combo. I think the colorful, like the patchwork borders on the backs really, like, I think it's a great pairing. I really love that one. I'm gonna be using that one a lot, I think. And then let's see here. The other one is like the other collage deck that like I'm obsessed with right now is of course this one, the Sistine Tarot, and I know that she is a fan of the Enchanted Tarot, and I think it works. I think it works. What do you guys think? I just think it plays well with a lot of different decks. Totally, right? I think so. I think it's so good. And then it also goes really well with a deck that I just got a shipping notification for, which I am so stoked about, is Annie Farrar's Thoth deck. What's it called? I think she's just calling it I'll have to, I forget, but whatever her Thoth deck is, it's in the mail, and I think it's going to be a perfect companion. But for now, we've got, I've also been playing around with it with Daydreaming in C2, and I think it works. I don't know. What do you guys think? What would you pair this with? I think it's just a really fun one. Yeah, right? Okay, and then lastly, I also, if we want to go like double oracle, this is my favorite oracle deck. If you want to go double oracle, it's also like perfect because the backs are all patchworky, so they're both kind of like patchworky decks. Sorry, you can see the ring light there. Oh, it's so pretty. Ooh. Yeah, do you like that combo? Can you hear the cat? Yeah, it's a nice one. Anyways, I could go on and on. I've played around with it with like transformational tarot. I've played around with it with the William Blake tarot is also a fun combo. But that was, thanks for going on this like incredible journey with me. It was quite a mod. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any tips or I don't know, ways to have you tried something like this before? How did it go? There's a lot of trial and error in this one, but overall, I'm really stoked. I'm really stoked with it. So I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.